Pablo. I said I was.
It's just me. I am just me.
Pablo and I both dressed as Asian icons.
That's right. Heroes, really.
One of our costumes was probably good for about 30 seconds of humor, and that's about it.
All right,
Wow.
here is the situation. This costume's going to be great for the whole hour.
Is it though?
I mean,
Gold
why
medalist.
is Pikachu a mammal?
Sinise.
If he's
Oh,
a
you know
mammal,
what?
how does he have
Pikachu.
antennas?
No, Domonique, even more important, Pikachu also Asian.
I know.
3 Asians.
I knew that.
All of us. All
That's
3
what-
Asian
When
icons.
you said 2 Asian icons, I pointed to myself like, come on. But anyway, Pablo, explain why this mammal thing, this cat has antennas. What is
First off, as a Pikachu who's saying more than just Pika Pika Pikachu, you're being a terrible Pikachu.
Oh man. So that's all I
You
can do all
wanted to
day?
do that the whole show?
Yeah,
Just
no.
say Pika?
All right, here's the situation. We should all be our characters for the entire thing. Mina, you have to do like backflips and uneven bars, and Dominique has to electrify himself and others. Absolutely. There it is. Look at that. I like how Mina said that I was the one with 30 seconds of moves, and I believe that this is kind of what she has. And then I'm not sure where.
Oh no, she held the medal up too. She's got the medal hold.
Oh, that's right.
She's got the look at me and
You bite it? I would bite it, but I got this in the mail from probably somewhere in Hong Kong, so I'm gonna not have that touch my teeth.
oh goodness.
All right.
Happy
Here's-
Halloween!
Happy Halloween. Here's the situation.
That's why we're dressed like this.
Oh, Dominique.
No.
My sweet, sweet, adorable black Pikachu.
I am not. I'm yellow. I just didn't want to be offensive to go Pika face, but I would like you to buy into my entire costume. Thank you. Pablo, I'm Dominique. That's Mina. Let's talk about some sports, I think.
Oh, God.
What was that?
All right, guys, our first
missed
trending
it.
topic. How much of the Cardinals' first loss is on AJ Green?
Oh,
All right.
Terrible.
Here's the situation. AJ Green's having a
You're
really
getting
bad
that every
day.
time.
Yeah, absolutely, I am. That's all I got. I think a super majority of it, and I'm usually the person who's like, you know, if you evaluate the timelines of things, there are many other sliding doors moments you can point to. But this one feels so glaring that I'm curious what the actual like football people thought of this, because it was very easy for me to say, oh, no, this would have been very different if not for AJ Green not turning around at all and letting the Packers intercept that ball at the, in the end zone. That seemed like the worst possible.
It happened
thing that
again.
could
It happened again. Anytime you go full screen, there's an automatic stutter. It's for you and me both, Pablo, but they go full screen and it catches you
I
off
don't like
guard
it,
and you stutter.
Dominique.
I'm
I
going to
don't like
nail,
it.
for the first time today, I'm
Yeah.
going to nail a fluid full screen. I just did it. I did it. We're done.
Wow.
It's the power of me being the cutest costume on the show today. I'm incredibly
What?
cute, Pikachu. Got you beat. Your costume's cute, Mina.
Alabaster's gloves are disturbing.
Can we
I'm
do a
entirely
poll
cute.
as to who has the cutest
Yes.
costume? 'Cause
Wait.
I
Mina,
feel like
Mina.
I-
Alabaster,
Cutest costume.
create
I
a
hate-
poll
I hate
image,
that. I
post
hate
it,
it.
and
Mina-
block all of Mina's
Ugh.
simps so they can't vote.
So Mina's first move, anytime there is an opportunity, let's take it to the internet because I have 2 million followers. Let's ask the people what they think. All your simps are gonna roll in and vote for you as the cutest costume,
That's
even
right.
though they know costumes are 100% cuter. Football happened last night. No, it's not AJ Green's fault. That one particular play. But to be honest, the Cardinals should have blown them out. Like they didn't seem to have the ability, despite loading the box in many situations, to stop to stop the Green Bay Packers rushing attack or slow it down. The Packers made it quite clear that they were going to run screens all day in the first half, but for some reason, the Cardinals could not adjust, despite having one of the more athletic defenses in the league. So, okay, at the final moment, it seemed like Kyler Murray couldn't be stopped. But Douglas made a great interception, but it feels unfair to let everybody else in the Cardinals off the hook because AJ Green blew it at the end. They had their top 3 receivers were out.
So-
what do you think they were going to do? Stop them.
The biggest winner in all of this is not the Green Bay Packers, it's Rondale Moore, because we are talking about AJ Green today as being
Fair,
the reason
fair.
the Cardinals lost instead of my beloved Rondale Moore, by the way. I don't even know, muffing the punt, really just accidentally getting a finger on the punt, right? And then, of course, the tipped pick. Wow, pick tip. But Domonique is right. A lot of this to me does fall on the Cardinals' defense, given how outmanned the Packers were, and that everybody and their mom and their grandma knew the Packers were going to run the ball, or as you said, if you look at Rodgers' passing chart in this game, it's like little clusters around the in the flats. But I actually do think there's a reason to be concerned from Arizona's perspective, because you lost J.J. Watt to injury. Zaven Collins went out in this game with a shoulder injury. And I've also been kind of worried about the Cardinals' run defense for a while. I expected Green Bay to come in and take advantage of that. I didn't expect them to run so easily, given that Arizona knew what they were doing. But I do think if we're going to try to take away lessons from this game for the rest of the season, that is a concern I have about the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. Moore's muff was the problem. Oh, go ahead, Pablo.
No, I mean, all right, here's the situation. Domonique, Rasul Douglas, I am shocked that you are not trumpeting his greatness as a cornerback. The guy was on the street, right? Was on this team, the Cardinals, at one point, and yes, was on the practice squad, in fact, and he makes that play. I'm surprised that you're not beating the drum for a play that, as much as it was pretty much essentially handed to him, was one of the great plays in the secondary that we've seen all season.
It's an outstanding play. It's not much about the coverage, but the reason why people say that cornerbacks can't catch is because you're often surprised when the ball comes to you. You are trying to get to somebody, and it's like a shot. So receivers catch a little better because they're coming out there break expecting the ball. We make a good break. It's like, then you try to catch it. So that's what happened to Rondale Moore, or not Rondale Moore. That's what happened to Douglas on that situation, and he managed to catch it. He was not expecting the ball. He's like, that's a ball. And he caught it. That is hard to do, but I'm not sure it's a testament to great cornerback play as much as it's a testament to great awareness. And it was probably one of the plays of the game, but the question was about blaming A.J. Green. So I felt like I had to take it in the blame direction and figure out the fact that we got to blame a lot of other people besides A.J.
It was a perfect throw. Let's start there. It was a perfect back shoulder fade. A.J. Green should have caught it. Clearly, they said there was some sort of miscommunication. He thought it was, I think, either going to the other receiver, right, is what he said. Not that he thought it was
Kyler,
a play.
the play was supposed to be called to the left. Kyler liked the matchup with Douglas and A.J. Green, apparently.
Told him that he liked it, which is why you call goal line fades, is if you like the matchup between the wide receiver and the corner. It's a much maligned play by yours truly, but if you like the matchup, it works. And the reason it's defended often, by the way, and this includes the back shoulder fade, because it's a low-risk play. Typically, right, Domonique? Usually if you got your guy and it's one-on-one and it's a fade and it's back shoulder, even if it doesn't succeed, it's not going to get picked. And you might get DPI if you're lucky. So this was just sort of a comedy of errors. We should also note that on that drive, which was excellent by Kyler for the go-ahead win, A.J. Green had a huge catch. And so, again, it feels a little bit I feel a little bit bad calling him the GOAT, even though he is the primary reason why they lost.
Yeah, I mean, the goal line fade is a tough one to create a turnover, in large part because it's the goal line. So you have to play beneath the receiver, which means you have to turn your back to the quarterback and just react to the receiver. Well, if the receiver starts stalk blocking you, then you're just kind of squared up and you're watching everything that's going. So in a normal situation, the ball would be coming to your back. You're reacting, trying to push your hands through the hands of the receiver to break it up. It's almost impossible to get an interception, but this was not normal. So he deserves some blame. It's obvious that was his fault, but Mina's right. The worst play was Moore tipping the ball and trying to think that we're in 2021 and we're not going to figure it out. First, get out of the way or catch it. Second, you know it hits your hand. Go jump on it.
But all right, here's the situation for Aaron Rodgers, though, because Aaron Rodgers now is 7-0. Every single sentence I can wedge it into. He's 7-0 now without Davante Adams. Before this game, Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator of the Cardinals, was talking about how actually it's kind of a trap when Adams is out there with Rodgers because Rodgers likes to force it in. He likes to focus on that. He's a high-volume catch guy. That it's a true offense when Rodgers does not have Adams. Obviously, that read like gamesmanship pregame, but after watching what happened last night, I'm curious what that all says to you guys, having watched it.
I'll just go first. A big part of the reason why the Green Bay offense has been successful, not only without Davante Adams, but without Alan Lazard last year as well, is because of the scheme. And you really saw that last night. Like we were talking, I was critical of the Cardinals' run defense because I think that matters going forward. But Matt LaFleur did a fantastic job outside of the low red zone, which there was some really weird play calls. I don't know about those 3 passes, but outside of that, he does an excellent job of calling the game with a deficiency of weapons, and then Rodgers does a good job of playing in structure. I mean, Domonique, he was getting that ball out like quick. The Arizona did not have a chance, even without J.J. Watt, of getting to him.
Yeah, I was expecting before this game, if Aaron Rodgers wins, he's going to puff his chest out, but he can't really do that based on the way he performed. Like, he managed the game, but if I were someone that believed that running backs do have value, like this is the game that you point to, because they drafted A.J. Dillon earlier than most people expected. A.J. Dillon was breaking so many tackles. Like, you don't think about it unless it turns into a big run. But the difference between 2nd and 2 and 2nd and 6, it's huge. And he was breaking all these tackles, making those plays. And we all maligned that draft pick. Their number 1 target was Aaron Jones with 11 targets. Like, this game was about the value of running backs. 2 running backs that you think are replaceable, but apparently in this situation, they are not. And then you take out the top receiver, which we always say having a number 1 receiver, hugely valuable. Take them out. Somehow they managed to manufacture an offense around these 2 backs.
The quote
I
that
just
Aaron
want to
Rodgers.
point out
Go ahead.
that,
Go ahead, Mina.
Oh, I mean, A.J. Dillon, I think each of his legs is the size of my body. I don't know. I mean, honestly, it's so distracting. I don't want to be... I know people can be kind of weird about like Saquon and whatever, but how can you not talk about that when you watch A.J. Dillon? I mean, it literally looks like 2 giant tree trunks just moving down the field.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
No, I want to talk about this thing, the thing that Alabaster put on, because Aaron Rodgers now has been on this sort of emotional victory lap, where he said this to Pat McAfee before the game. Of course, he reiterates it afterwards, how much he's loving life, how he loves his coaching staff, how he's in a good headspace, how he's very zen now, all of that stuff. To me, it's hard to disentangle the presence and the Buddhism from the complaints about woke cancel culture, and also clearly the spite that he conspicuously still obviously has for Brian Gutekunst, the GM of the team. I'm wondering if you think there is a longer game Rodgers is playing here, if what we've seen this season tells us something about how the offseason is going to go, because that's already what I'm looking at.
I don't know. It feels like Aaron Rodgers is preparing himself for life after football. He's trying to convince us all that he's an interesting celebrity personality whose feelings we should care about on a moment-to-moment basis. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels like he's creating some sort of storyline that is disconnected in some ways from what's happening on the field. It just seems absurd. And maybe the problem is I'm the problem. Maybe I'm just not used to quarterbacks being this open. Or it doesn't feel like he's being open, though. Like, it feels calculated, Like, that's what it is. If it felt like it was genuine, he was giving us that stuff, maybe I'd like it more. That one press conference when he was just reading off a list, taking shots at people, that Aaron Rodgers felt genuine, and I love that one. But maybe it was all part of whatever recipe he's cooking up to make himself more interesting.
I think the success of this team, Pablo, directly plays into your question, which is what they did last night was established a leg up in getting the 1 seed, which we know is more valuable now in the NFL because it's the only seed where you actually get a bye. If the Packers get that 1 seed and they're successful in the playoffs and make it to the Super Bowl, does anyone really think Aaron Rodgers is going to leave this team and go to like the Broncos or the Steelers or any of the other teams that are associated with him? So yeah, I think the success matters a lot. Like, those are the stakes that he's laid out. I also think it was incredibly hilarious that he called for a horse collar while being tugged down. We are not talking about this enough. When was the last time you saw that a quarterback calling for it, pointing at the ref as he's being tugged down? By the way, it was not a horse collar at all. No. Just an incredible power move by Rodgers there.
If we've moved on to some of the smaller plays that aren't highly discussed, I think we need to implement a rule. And this is as a defensive back. If you make an incredible catch and you only get 1 foot in, I want to count the touchdown. Mercedes Lewis, one-hand stab.
That was wild.
I count it. I'm sorry. I apologize to my brethren, but that catch, we're never going to see again. We're going to forget about that next season. We're not going to remember it. It's not going to be on the season highlights. I want it.
Can I just say, I cannot remember a time in the NFL when Mercedes Lewis wasn't like a top flex option. I mean, I think he's been in the NFL for about 30 years. I'm not 100% sure. Don't
31.
check that, but it's definitely true.
He got bigger shoulder pads or something, or he just getting bigger. Like I don't always remember him being. Maybe it's the
Is
white
that a
jerseys.
move I could
I don't
do?
know. I don't
I-
always.
He's older than
Bring
me.
back the 80s. Just start bringing back shoulder pads under like actual jackets in real life. That could be a good look.
All right, I think we've exhausted this topic because Mina's moved on to doing her
Yeah,
poses.
she's back to voguing as an Olympian. Alabaster, what's the next situation?
Well, before we move on, one more Aaron Rodgers piece.
Oh, boy.
There are actual odds about what he is growing out his hair for, because he says it's for his Halloween costume. Do you guys have a take on which one it is?
Oh man.
I don't know.
So my original guess is something I'm going to stand by because it would be the best. It would be Tom Brady just starting to date Gisele Bündchen, Brazil era Tom Brady, this era Tom Brady. Grow the hair out for that reason. So give me the odds on that, plus 9,000, please.
I mean, none of these are current. Like, I'm surprised. None of these are going to get the kids going. So I don't know. Maybe the Joker feels like it's the most current that people will care about, and that might be consistent with his general tomfoolery this season.
Yeah.
I think Obi-Wan Kenobi of these is the most likely because he's like a Star Wars guy, I think.
Yeah, he is a Star Wars guy.
The hair works. The hair works. I hope he cuts it after Halloween. I'll also throw that out there. Just aesthetically, feel like.
Whatever it is, I hope he doesn't get canceled by woke cancel culture.
That was such a
I
dumb
hate
thing.
how that
Oh,
keeps
Star Wars
happening.
appropriation.
That's right. Our culture is not your costume, Aaron Rodgers.
All right, our next
All right.
trending topic. More football. With the NFC East more or less wrapped up, should the Cowboys consider resting Dak in his maybe gimpy foot on Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, he's got a calf injury, and I am firmly in the camp that he should play. But to kind of lay the argument on the table, it's first round bye. Are you going for the first round bye?
Those nails. Ugh.
Yeah.
Lord.
How valuable is the first round bye for you? Because you can't afford to lose games because someone's a little nicked up in hopes of still making the playoffs. Because that's a whole week. Like, you get to skip a week of the playoffs. That's 2 games to get to the Super Bowl as opposed to 3. So that's why I'm of the feeling that it's a strain. No one's going to be 100%. Put them out there and continue to rehab it and play.
Yeah, Mina, I feel like there could be like a midway solution here, right? Like play the first half, don't play the second, or play the first half until it seems like you actually might not need him, wherever that point may be. Like, why isn't there something like that they can consider where it's not, outright insulting to the entire division, I guess, even before the game
Are
starts?
they playing the FCS team? Like, you can't first
No, well,
half
this
it.
is what I was gonna say. I think Minnesota's actually sneakily good. And maybe good is a little bit strong, but they're certainly better than their record. And I was actually looking forward to this game a lot with Dak Prescott for a couple of reasons. Minnesota pass rush is suddenly really returning to form. I mean, we know Daniel Hunter's really great, but Everson Griffin turned back the clock. They got back the defensive tackles like Pierce, and they're really good up front. Secondary is a little bit of an issue, and then on the other side of the ball, Kirk Cousins is playing really well. Yeah. Nobody wants to talk about it, but it's happening. We've been burned before. I actually don't think the Cowboys DBs can handle the Minnesota wide receivers. To me, this is like a real heat check game for the Cowboys defense, which has kind of lived and died by the turnover. And I know they're improved. I strongly believe that. But the Minnesota offense is no joke. So I'm not saying that Dak should play because of that, but I am saying if Dak doesn't play, they're probably going to lose.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins is playing really well with multiple late game comebacks, which is why I'm surprised that you said that their record could be better. Their record could also be worse. Like, when you are relying on Kirk Cousins, who's been good in late game situations, to bring you back at the end of games. But your point about the defense is important. The secondary, the Vikings secondary, I mean, I was going to say they can't keep up with the receivers for the Cowboys, but nobody really has the talent to keep up with that. But having a front four that can get after Dak, even though, I mean, they're traditionally like the blitz out there, if they're able to do that and give some help, it might present a problem for Dak. But the problem is Dak is making the right decisions, run-pass decisions all the time. So they're going to have to disguise the coverages well enough that they don't know what they're in, because this offensive line and this resurgent two-headed monster backfield, like, they'll just run it all game on you.
Yeah, well,
I just love. All right, here's the situation. I just love that the NFC East is so bad that it's threatening to turn the NFL into the NBA. Like the idea that you're going to load manage someone in October because the Giants are 2-5, the Eagles are 2-5, the Washington football team's 2-5, and because theoretically, I guess realistically, maybe Dallas knows they're not going to be better in the end by record than the Cardinals or the Packers or the Bucks. You know, like the idea that the NFC East can just be written off so securely right now, like there is so much about the NFL that makes it different and better than the NBA in terms of a television product. The fact that this almost never happens feels like it's high on the list, that you would never rest a guy midseason.
yeah. I think, Pablo, that's a good point, and it really just also comes down to the nature of the injury for me. This is why I hate doing questions about, like, should they rest this guy? Should they play him? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. When they say he's sore and it's a calf strain, that sounds bad. It really, to me, they have to figure out, is there a risk of aggravating it to the point where it becomes a serious injury and he has to miss multiple weeks? I think you're right, because of the situation that Dallas is in with the division, and because of the importance of Dak Prescott to this team, and because this is a team with realistic playoff Super Bowl aspirations, you do take the short-term hit for the long-term gain if you seriously think he could get hurt. But again, that's a great unknown and why I hate answering these questions.
I mean, the tough thing with football is, like, you're playing football. Like, if you rest Dak Prescott for this game, it does not guarantee you that Dak Prescott will be healthy for the rest of the season. That's the hard thing about this game, is it's not like other sports where I understand, like, you get a nagging injury and it's probably worth it to sit out your top player in the basketball season for a couple of weeks in the middle of the season to have him late in the season, because you don't get a first round bye. It's a full series. It's not a one and done. So you feel like if you have a better team, you'll overcome in the long run. What you got, Alabaster?
Okay, normally I would agree with you, but the NFC East is trash. How many weeks could they rest him? They could rest him until he's 100%.
Yeah.
You're not listening, because if you're resting your starting quarterback and your backup quarterback is Cooper Rush, like, you're essentially, I don't want to say it, but you're kind of forfeiting the game.
No,
so you're asking how many games you want to lose in the middle of the season. It's not the same.
No, it would be different if I think we're going to talk about the Browns later, and it sounds like Baker's going to play. But if Case Keenum was their backup, I think we would be having a different conversation, because this Cowboys offense is like a finely tuned machine at this point. The offensive line is dominating defenses. The run game is wild. Like, the offensive coordinator is extremely good at scheming up easy completions as well. If they had a quarterback that I believed was maybe one of the top 10 backups in this league, I would absolutely say sit Dak Prescott. But unfortunately, they don't.
Just hit me. We got to sit Dak Prescott so we can get him the MVP. We got to sit him. This cements him the MVP. We sit Dak Prescott.
Oh,
this
like
offense,
if they lose.
Oh, yeah. This offense with all this talent scores 3 points, come back 40 the rest of the season. You can't take it from him.
Wow. Somewhere Cooper Rush. What does Cooper Rush even look like? Let me Google image him right now.
He looks exactly like what you would think he would look like if his name was Cooper
Rush.
He's a ginger.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Yep. He's like Andy Dalton and Ben DiNucci had a son.
That is not equal a great quarterback.
All right, guys.
Antennas are out of the.
We got to move on, because our fans
Antennas
online
ears.
have been clamoring for this topic. Bing bong. Are you becoming a believer in one of Pablo's favorite teams, the Knicks?
Oh, all right.
No. Knicks fans hate Pablo.
Here's the situation. Knicks fans hate me now, and it's too late, and they're having so much fun, and it's a real bummer. Because I live like 10, 15 blocks away from the bing bonging. Basically what happens, if you're not familiar with this topic, is the Knicks are winning regular season games. The Knicks are legitimately like a good basketball team right now. We can discuss why that is. But the point is, they're winning games, and their fans are basically knowingly gathering and filming viral videos in which they just talk crap on everybody. And so every game now, there are these viral videos, and it looks like the most fun in the world. It's going to get real problematic at some point. I also understand that's going to happen. We're going to milkshake duck the bing bong guy, potentially, allegedly. But until then, it looks like the most fun you could have in professional sports, honestly.
Double in overtime! What the?
Can we even play these videos? There's so much cussing.
Knicks are here, baby! The Knicks are here, baby! Fresh out the garden, baby! We're taking it all the way. We had de Blasio. We had Cuomo. It was rough. But we have the Knicks. The New York Knicks run New York City. Bing bong. Tell me a little something, Katie.
Wow.
Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks? Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks? Let's go Knicks. Let's go Knicks. Let's go Knicks. Let's go Knicks. Boston.
Oh,
Yo, you thought Trae Young was still good? He still ain't good at Dyke, man. You smoking on that Boston pack tonight, you heard?
Trae Young. Trae Young.
Oh, that was after they beat the Celtics, by the way, in case anyone was wondering what Trae Young had to do with anything. No, just lingering hatred for that guy.
They haven't even played them, have they? Like, they've won 4 games and lost 1. None of them was against Trae Young. They are still
Correct.
salty from the way that he came in there and put them to sleep in their own arena. That's the problem. Like, yeah, they're good, but they don't have a Trae Young. They can bleep Trae Young all they want, but they got Quickly, Randall, Kemba, Fournier.
Kemba Walker,
like, all
Evan
of these
Fournier.
guys are great pieces. But when it seems like you get to the playoffs, you're going to need that dude. You're going to need somebody like that to take over.
you don't think Evan Fournier shooting or Kemba Walker shooting over 50% from 3 is sustainable, Dominique?
Yeah, no, his knees are going to hold up. I promise you, playing for Thibodeau.
Chris
I
Herring
guarantee his knees will
did
hold
an
up.
excellent piece about the Knicks becoming the league's hottest 3-point shooting team, and found that the jump they've made from last year to this year in terms of made and attempted threes is historically unprecedented, which suggests that it's not likely to continue. That's it. Like, when you watch the Knicks, they're clearly a good team, right? Like, they have depth, even behind the guys you mentioned. Obi Toppin looks really exciting. Alec Burks. So, like, I believe in the Knicks being good. Do I believe they're as good as the likes of the Bucks and the Nets when they get right and such? No, I don't. But I also desperately want to be a part of that fan gang cutting videos for the Knicks. It looks so fun. I feel like I'd be so good at it. You just gotta I don't want to knock over a mic.
Wait.
I can't imagine anything I'd want to be a part of less. I'm shocked that you watched that video and you said, I want to be there.
Oh, no,
What?
it looks
It
awesome,
looks so
man.
fun.
It looks so
I
fun.
don't have a mic. I have a water
It
bottle.
doesn't. Those
you gotta-
people yelling, spitting on each
Let's
other.
go Nets!
I love laughing at it from a distance. I'll sit next to Spike and watch him play, but once we're outside of MSG, I'm good on the screaming and face
Dominique,
shaking.
Mina's right. It's all of the.
Bing bong, bing bong.
How is that
Bing bong
attractive
is
to
just
you
an
guys?
incredible rallying cry.
It's so
Bing
fun.
bong.
It's so fun. Oh, by the way,
Pablo, do you feel any regret for?
I said yes so immediately, and I meant to sort of slow play that as if I was really debating this. Yeah, it looks like the most fun you could have being a fan of an NBA team. Let's just be clear about this. No other basketball team's fans are celebrating regular season games in the street after them. This is not a thing that happens. The regular season in the NBA is a wasteland. We all care about the NFL, right? Week to week. We don't care about the NBA like this week to week. And so the idea that this is happening, and I grew up rooting for this team, and then they made me not want to root for them, and now a bunch of bros somehow are more lovable than I've ever imagined, despite being the inside of a Penn Station train car. Like, all of this is mind-blowing to me and making me feel real bad about the choices I've made.
Man, the pandemic's not over, and you want to stand next to those people who I'm not sure make the best decisions during the week while they're yelling at each other. Okay, what's up, Alabaster?
Okay, the other side of this coin. Mina, now that Pablo is a Barclays Center socialite and the Nets top super fan, do you want to switch allegiances and become the Knicks top super fan?
No, I'm sticking with the Nets. Yeah, and my fandom, I don't need to show up and sit next to Pete Davidson to assert my Nets fandom. Hashtag Nets World, hashtag Brooklyn Together. When I signed on to this team as a lifelong fan, I knew there would be lows and I knew there would be highs. And right now, it's a low time. I understand that. But, you know, you got to go through the pain to experience the joy. That's true sports fandom right there.
Pablo, were you rooting for or against the Knicks when they played the 76ers?
All right, here's the situation. I am rooting against the Sixers.
You got to explain it. I already know the answer.
Okay.
You got to explain it. I know the answer.
I'm rooting against the Sixers for this reason. I've now come all the way back around to wanting the Sixers to tank. And I'll explain myself. All right, here's the
Oh,
situation.
this is sad.
If the Sixers
go to the
lose
next
enough
topic?
games in
This is
like
uncomfortable.
November, December,
The
they
desperation.
might fire
Ugh.
Doc Rivers, and
No.
Ben Simmons might want to play for this team again, and they would solve so many problems in one swoop. So I'm back to trusting the process. It's just not the process that anybody else has explained. It's just my own, and it is, in fact, the thing I legitimately want. Yeah.
You know, Pablo's relationship with, it's weird. It's like the Sixers, but it's more like clinging to a vision of the Sixers that was supposed to happen, where the process worked and
Yeah.
Ben and Joel
Yeah.
thrived together.
Yeah.
It's like when you have two friends who are in a relationship and you know they shouldn't be together and you aren't sure if it's your place to say so.
Yeah,
Although I just said so. Pablo,
Just-
you need to divorce your
Yeah.
fantasy of
I know,
what's going to
it's
happen with
just-
the Sixers.
It's just so much
gave this-
binging and bonging.
Just
Yeah,
gave this
it's a lot of
elaborate
binging and bonging.
rationalization of why you should stay in this clearly very unhealthy relationship. Like, he's going to get a job, and once he gets a job, he's going to have more confidence. He's going to treat me better then, and then everything will be all right. We just need to have a kid. That's it. We have a kid, and that'll solve it. Pablo, no, not going to solve it. Not going to solve it. Move on. Go back to your first love, the Knickerbockers.
I don't know if I can, guys. I don't know if I can.
You would fit right in out
Do
there.
we have
yelling
more
bing bong.
basketball topics?
We
hope
got
so.
more basketball.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, also, never Google Fournier. I Googled Cooper Rush. Never.
Oh yeah,
never
don't do it. Don't
Google
do it.
Evan
Yeah,
Fournier.
it's the worst thing you can Google.
Speaking
never do
of the Knicks' arch nemesis, is Trae Young right that the
I love
refs are
Trae
now
Young.
missing calls in their attempts to stop flopping around the league?
This is a fascinating story. All right, here's the situation. This is a fascinating story because what's happening right now is that these rules changes are such that the refs are enforcing them differently. There basically has been, to Trae Young and James Harden's credit, like an anti-them campaign because nobody actually wants to watch them draw fouls, and the refs are really into it. And you can see that here.
There's a lot of missed calls that they missed, and but it's basketball. I feel that they're learning, and they're just, I don't know. It's frustrating. It's frustrating for sure.
Like, I don't know if you guys played Madden when they instituted the passing cone, but that's how it feels like Trae Young and James Harden must be feeling. Like, they changed the dynamics of the game that they've been dominating for like 20 years, and now they don't know how to play it. And they're kind of raising their hands and saying, we don't know what to do, because they're legitimately worse right now. Like, free throw rate, offensive production, all of it is correlating with the fact that the rules changed on them.
Yeah, it's a part of their game. It's a tool that you're taking out. And like the way I understand it is like part of the reason why they are effective scorers is because people have to defend them differently because they're afraid of these tricks that they have to draw fouls. I have no concern that both of them won't figure it out, or no concern that the refs probably won't chill out a little bit. But this is kind of the way it works. There is no perfect spot for any particular thing in this world. And in this situation, we're erring on the side of less fouls. To me, that's a little better than in the other situation where we err on the side of too many fouls that stop the flow of the game and make it a little bit more herky-jerky. So I'm sorry. And to tie it back to our Aaron Rodgers at the beginning, I feel the same way about cancel culture. Like, maybe it exists. And maybe there are a couple of people who are paying consequences that maybe are out of whack with what their fault is. But
That's
I'd rather live in that world than live in the world 20 years
great
ago.
point.
So
where
I think in
people-
this,
where the errors, the mistakes were on the more lenient side. Like, oh, would you call me? No big deal. Why don't we give you a promotion?
so in this metaphor, NBA refs are like people on Twitter who are angry at, I guess, Aaron Rodgers or whoever. It kind of makes sense, weirdly. Yeah, I think this is kind of being overblown, candidly. It's a kind of small sample size situation. James Harden is definitely affected by the rule, but he also is clearly still hampered by the hamstring injuries. Dude, Pablo, he is moving at the lowest speed of any player in the NBA right now. They track these things. Like, he is not right. So I think it would be kind of wrong to pin all of it on the officiating change. Also, Trae Young himself, he's still scoring a lot of points. He's just not getting to the free throw line as much. But I did think it was funny. Young, we didn't show this, but he gave a very long explanation. And he also pointed out that Devin Booker and Dame are scoring like less than they usually, which is the ultimate like, hey, I know you guys hate me and Harden, but you like these two basketball players. Meanwhile, Dame is like, why are you dragging me into this, man? I want no part of this. I'm not the poster boy of, asking for free throws. He also said, I wrote this down because I thought it was so funny, that he's done his research. He mentioned the exact statistics for Booker and Lillard, and he called it, I did my book work, which reminded me, oh my God, he's young.
I saw Alabaster said he had an interjection. You are heavy on interjections today, my friend.
Well,
this better be good.
For Trae Young, wouldn't it be more concerning? Like, Damian Lillard's coming off a hernia injury. Joel Embiid's coming off a knee injury. James Harden's coming off of being flagrantly out of shape. Trae Young is just normal Trae Young and can't get to the line.
No, there's like, as much as there is a small sample size theater dynamic going on here, that's fair. Of course, it's October 29th. You watch them play, they are not getting calls that they always used to get. Like, this is something that they're going to have to try and figure out how to message more effectively. What Mina was saying before is exactly what's happening here. I know you hate me, but what about these guys? Do you like them? That's not going to work. And so I just feel like, honestly, there is no one else in their political party on this. It is James Harden and Trae Young and their employers and nobody else. I understand why the NBA passed these rules. No one wants to watch free throws that often.
This is Aaron Rodgers' passing chart. This is the line of scrimmage right here. And these red spots are the zones where he was throwing the ball in last night's game. We haven't done enough basketball yet. Can we get back to the gridiron?
Do you know anything about Pikachu, Domonique? Like, do you know literally anything about him?
I know that Pikachu...
Can you name one Pikachu fact?
Yeah, Pikachu is a detective. And Pikachu also doesn't say anything.
Canonical Pikachu
he also
fact.
doesn't say anything except for Pikachu, and he chops up the syllables sometimes.
Domonique, what does Pikachu evolve into?
A non-toxic male. He evolves into an adult man who is respectful of women and people, and he is no longer toxic. That's what he evolves into, right?
Yeah.
Am I just talking about myself? Like, what is going on?
He evolved into Race Chew. Right, yeah.
Oh man, any other Pikachu questions for me? I know them all. I mean, I know all the answers. He electrocutes people like Raiden. He's like a young Raiden. That's Pikachu.
Is Charlie sending you stuff? Where did you get the electrocute thing from? There's no way you knew that 5 minutes ago.
Pablo said it in the morning before we started.
I said it earlier today. I like the idea of like a children's birthday party, hiring a Pikachu and just getting Domonique dressed as this.
I still haven't gotten an answer to why he has antennas. Like,
they're ears.
Those are ears.
Those are his ears.
Where are the holes? These aren't ears. They're antennae.
Yes, they're ears.
They're not ears. These are antennae.
God.
They actually look a little suggestive. I don't like these antennas anymore.
The children are currently weeping. The birthday celebrant is like, I thought I was getting a Pokemon.
So in this world, is Pikachu is he the last member of his species, or are there lots of other Pikachus?
There are multiple Pikachus, Domonique.
We don't need to explain the Pokemon canon to him. But you know what he reminds me of when you go to Times Square and you see like a sad character who's just like tired of posing for photos. And it's just like sitting by the Red Lobster, like just like ears flopped over.
That's right. No, nothing is sadder than coming out of the subway and seeing Elmo on lunch break. And you're like, oh no.
That industry is dead now, right? They're not doing that anymore. No one's out there anymore. Like, who's taking pictures with guys in dingy Elmo costumes now?
I think it's still a thing.
I would not let my kids stand next to those guys pre-pandemic. I'm certainly not letting them stand next to them now. If anybody's been there, those costumes don't get washed very often. It's quite clear. This is a sketchy situation. I'm good.
You realize that you're saying all of this while dressed like you.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do for money, man. You don't judge me. I got to do what I got to do. I mean, get my ears up because I'm not sad right now. I'm excited.
Those flaccid ears.
I'm excited to take pictures with your Rugrats.
What other topics do we have?
All right, guys. It's time to play a game.
Go. competitor in
game-
me is coming out.
That game is if then.
Is that a
We'll
pose?
give you a
Is that
Mad Lib.
gymnastics pose?
You fill it out.
No, the pose is
Okay.
like,
Here's the situation. If Bill Belichick can slow down Justin Herbert, then blank.
who wants to take this?
Then-
I'll go. I'll take it. I think
Okay.
then suddenly the Patriots start to look like contenders because this is a team where there was some struggles earlier in the season, questions about how they're using Mac Jones or not using Mac Jones, the acquisitions and free agency they've made. But recently, as of late, granted against diminished competition last week, they've been rolling. Now comes the Chargers. I think this is a fantastic matchup. Belichick he basically put Herbert in a spin cycle last year.
Yep.
And now you got Herbert coming off of another performance, or arguably the worst game of the season, in which he struggled against some of the Ravens' pressure packages. I'll be curious to see on that side of the football, basically whether Herbert's kind of grown as a quarterback, because what Belichick's going to do. He's going to come up with some creative way to try to slow down Keenan Allen, whether it's doubling him or whatever. And then he's going to use a lot of post-snap disguise to try to mess with Herbert. To me, for Justin, he's going to have to extend plays and, frankly, operate outside of structure, which is something he's very good at. But if Belichick stops him, the hierarchy in the AFC changes a little bit, Domonique.
Well, I mean, I think that if Belichick stops him, then I hope they let Matt cook on the other side, because I think that's the question. The Chargers' run defense isn't great, and so I think it is attractive for the Patriots to think that they can play great D and run the ball and win this game. I don't see that being the case. They could slow Herbert, but I feel like the Chargers going to find a way to score some points. And Mac Jones is going to have to be let out the garage at some point this season. And maybe this is the game that they could decide to do that with him. I'm hoping that's the game, because I think what's assumed in that question or in that Mad Lib, it's assumed that the Patriots will win. I don't know that I believe that. I think Bill Belichick can slow down Justin Herbert and that the Patriots could still lose.
Well, okay. Let me put it this way then. If here's the situation: if Bill Belichick can slow down Justin Herbert, and the Chargers lose, I think we have to reevaluate the Chargers, right? I mean, the whole idea of where their stock is right now. I'm gonna just tick off their actual wins and losses of this season. They beat Washington in Week 1, right? That's less impressive than it was once upon a time. They lose to the Cowboys by 3. That's just a straight up loss. They beat the Chiefs, which now looks less impressive week after week. They beat the Chargers. They beat the Raiders, which is, maybe that's the best win they have. No, they beat the Browns, but that's by 5. They give up 42 points to the Browns in the process. They get drubbed by the Ravens. And if they lose to the Patriots, if you were a stockholder, you might have wanted to sell off before this game if, in fact, Bill Belichick can slow down Justin Herbert.
Well, the AFC's a mess. There's the Bills, in my opinion, and I know they lost to the Titans. And then after them, it's kind of like the ranking of Halloween costume today. I'm the Bills, and then there's just a kind of a confusing assortment of characters, and nobody really knows how to order them or what to make of them. And I think this game is going to go a long way towards ordering that, like I said, the hierarchy in the AFC. Domonique, I think you made an interesting point. It is going to be very alluring to Bill Belichick to run the football in this game, because we've seen how much the Chargers' run defense has struggled. However, Brandon Staley's a good coach. I imagine they spent their bye week trying to come up with adjustments to improve their run defense, because it's not just schematic. They play a lot of those light boxes that are inviting against the run, but some of it is just straight up the players that they have in their front seven outside of Joey Bosa have not been playing great. They've been missing linebackers. They've been missing Justin Jones. Some of those players will be back. So if the Chargers are able to stop Damian Harris, I do think it comes down to whether Mac Jones can keep pace. Looked great last week, pushing the ball downfield. Chargers defense is better. So I'm very curious to see. I feel like this game is a real AFC heat check for these teams. Whoever comes out on top, everybody's going to be really hot on.
So, drubbed apparently is derivative of a 17th century Arabic word. There you go. A little knowledge for you today.
Okay.
Congratulations.
All right, here's the situation.
I was worried where that was going.
Summoning back into the centuries, as I
you
often
said
do
drubbed,
on this
and I was
show.
like, it's a good word. I like it. Let's talk about it. What's next?
Drubbed.
Another game.
All right, guys. So we were going to ask you about Baker Mayfield next, but he's been cleared to play. So we get to move on to a much more important topic. If you were Patrick Mahomes in this video, then blank.
Oh my gosh.
Should we watch the video first?
Yeah, watch the video.
Oh, if you were Patrick Mahomes in this video, then you might also be Domonique Foxworth on Instagram. This is exactly Domonique. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like when your family members are super into the photo shoot and the dances and the extravagance of being out there in public. And there's Domonique. Mina, what's the Domonique look? How would you do that? Because it looked exactly like the Mahomes look.
Domonique is his family. To be fair, no dances. It's just photos. I want to, there's no TikToking going on. Your kids are too young. I feel like if they were older, there might be. But Domonique posing in photos where the rest of his family looks beautiful and is smiling is always making this face.
Now that is a great Halloween costume. There it is.
This is something that I could look at Patrick and understand that it's a pick your battle situation. That's what it is. Like sometimes you're like, nah, I ain't doing that. And then sometimes you're like, man, I'm picking my battles because this is not a fight that is worth having right now. Like, all right, I'll be in your stupid video. I'm not dancing. And that's what you got to do. I mean, he's a married man with a daughter now also. You just sometimes you give up and you give into these things. I ain't playing that. Anybody doing no dances? Get out of here with all this.
We do. At NFL Live, Laura has a TikTok, which everyone should check out, and posts great videos. And Ryan Clark is always a conscientious objector. But honestly, it ends up being kind of funny because everyone's doing whatever the TikTok calls for, and he's standing in the background.
I think Ryan and I both grew up in the toxically masculine hip hop culture of the early 90s. That's what it boils down to, is whenever somebody's like, do this dance, get up in this like contrived picture, like pretend like you don't see me photographing you and just like lean in. Everything that pops into my mind is like 14-year-old me looking at adult me and calling myself very, very mean names that would get you canceled these days. And I'm like, that is not who I've grown up to be. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think that.
This wave of electrified Pokemon energy.
Pick your battles is what it boils down to. Pick your battles. Charlie came over and dropped this crap off at my door, and I was like, fine, Charlie. I'll wear your stupid costume for your stupid show.
He didn't mind wearing the costume. I'm trying to find, we did a TikTok dance, and I didn't quite understand the. Oh, you have it,
Mina,
Charlie?
please bring it up on your phone and show the audience.
I have not seen this. Who has TikTok?
I'm sorry.
I didn't understand what we were supposed to do.
I haven't seen this either.
As the kids say, I did not understand the assignment. Is right what they always say now.
You're a
I
kid,
will say,
man.
while Mina's looking that up, like Patrick Mahomes does seem like a good older brother though to Jackson Mahomes. Jackson Mahomes is out here. Yeah, no, he's not like telling him to not do it. If you listen to the internet,
whoa. This is uncomfortable and weird, and I understand you want to give your family room to be themselves, but as someone who is a younger brother, sometimes it's nice for your older brother to be like, nah, man, don't do that. I'm not saying it's the case right here, but that is part of the responsibility of an older brother to be like, maybe not at Sean Taylor's celebration.
Yeah, well,
maybe,
that one was not the best place to do the whoa.
Think before you post.
Hit the gritty.
I know Patrick has a lot of things on his plate, a lot of concerns, a lot of people whose mistakes that he has to make up for. But he doesn't need this one also. Someone else has got to step in and manage his celebrity little brother. Also very
I guess I'll just hold it up.
Are we gonna get sued?
Probably.
Who are we watching? Oh, Mina? No.
Oh no. Oh wow. Yeah. The sad part is that she's dressed as a gymnast while holding the phone, which would indicate that she would be the best at this, but kind of bails, like just face plants into the mat.
I thought it was just one move. I can't hold multiple. Anyways, let's go to the next topic.
You guys ready for some bonus topics?
Yeah.
Bonus topic.
All right, we have 7 of them.
Oh my
The
god.
first one
7.
comes from a YouTube commenter named Nerd Detector.
Here we go.
Is Pablo being a cool person for Halloween?
I mean, technically, I do want to shout out my Asian king, Nick Langer, I believe is his name, who is Country Roads guy. We can't play the song due to legal reasons, but you won the internet this year, so just shout out to you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Pablo, you didn't get the insult that was implicit in that tweet. The only reason I put it up was because never
Don't
mind.
need to acknowledge that. Nope.
Alabaster?
Pablo, for the record, you can sing 10 seconds of that song.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
All right, I'll
Wow.
save that. I'll save that for the big finish.
Save it-
You
save it
haven't
for the
even
end.
done an impersonation of the actual video.
Well, I gotta wait for you guys. Okay, you guys at the end of the show will sing it, and I will come in to
Way
do
to
the
go.
actual thing.
That's how you retain an audience right there. No one is clicking away now.
Our next
Absolutely right.
tweet comes from Amani Herring. Consistent viewer of the show said, it's time for Pablo Torre to come back home and put you in a offset Knicks hat.
Oh, yeah.
Can he come home?
Yeah, I don't think they welcome
like,
him.
is the door open? Has
Nah.
the
They've already changed his
I'm
room
actually
into a yoga
afraid.
studio. They're done with you. They're
I'm
taking down all
afraid
your
of-
posters and changed the locks. You're not invited.
I'm afraid of showing up and being in the viral video, but in the worst possible way. Like they would just boo me for like half a second, and then they would move on to the next thing.
Also, they won't know who you are. You'll show up and you'll start cheering, and they'll just welcome you in because you're like a stranger off the street.
How dare you? Maybe they recognize me because I'm dating Pete Davidson now.
How would you feel if the Knicks actually made it to the NBA Finals? Like, what would be your emotional process?
I'm not ready to contemplate that. Next question.
All right, our next tweet comes from contributor to the show, June Lee, who said, I find it offensive that Domonique, spelled with an I instead of an O, thought Pikachu's ears were antennas.
I agree.
Spelled my
Oh.
name wrong, June.
Yeah,
How disrespectful.
It's like, you know, oh God.
I demand respect, as you can see. I'm someone who demands respect. I will not go for misspelling of my name. I'm a
Honestly,
legitimate journalist.
Is there a better metaphor for the state of sports media than the fact that Dominique clearly did no research into his costume, which was, by the way, bought by a producer yesterday. Pablo is basically dressed as himself, just wearing
not true.
glasses.
Yep.
Meanwhile, I ordered my costume weeks ago and put a ton of effort into it, spent an hour getting my hair right, and I'm
Mina.
forced to share this show with you clowns.
Mina, don't hate on my privilege. I get very little privilege. I got some former football player privilege, and I'm going to ride this thing on out, baby, until the wheels fall off, because when I leave this set, still a black dude in America.
Wait,
if
before
you wear
Race
that
2 takes us
costume,
off the
Pop-
rails.
Oh,
I
now
was
I'm
gonna
a
say,
Wait, what?
Dominique, if you wear that costume, people will find you very approachable and
That's fair.
That's
or they'll
true.
be scared because they're like, this dude is crazy. Like, I don't know.
They'll be like, no, this guy deserves a loan. This Pikachu absolutely deserves a callback for a
I
job
think
interview.
that this may be something that you guys don't experience, but I'm sure lots of black men experience this or understand this phenomenon where you feel like whenever you go into a setting, you have to be like overly nice. So like, while I'm not wearing a Pikachu costume, like I walk into places, and maybe that's why I don't smile in all these pictures with my wife, because I'm like, I'm tired of all the fake smiles that I have to give to like people who have assumed that this black guy in a hoodie is a problem, and I'm just walking around the street, hey, I'm Pikachu, relax. I'm angry now. I'm angry
There it
now.
is.
There it is. I'm with
I,
my wife. I can
yes.
chill out. I can be the real me. I'm sorry, Mina.
I have
This
a
was
very
about you
similar
being a
experience
bias
of being
against.
on television. Dominique, take a gander at the first take comments if you want to see what it looks like when a woman isn't smiling.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, this is getting too real. Let's take a next question.
Nah, these
And for
people
the record-
leave it.
for the
You don't want this
record-
real. Get out of here.
I have thrown a football
Charles.
before. Next question.
Charlie's not happy.
That's
This is turning into like a
debatable.
grievance.
Oh man, I
Best.
crowbar race
Alright.
into every show. It's
Our
my
next tweet
passion.
is from Carrie Johnson 919. Mina equals Simone Biles ? Puts into question how great your costume is. Fox equals Pikachu. Pablo equals Grandma Glasses model.
You know what? I was going to be agitated, but all right, here's the situation. I'm kind of complimented by that. My ego feels.
How so?
Grandma Glasses model? Model?
Oh,
Dominique.
I like that.
Let's not gloss over the last noun there.
I like that. It's smart. Focus on
I
the
am-
positive.
Sunisa Lee, the first Asian American to win the all around, but I appreciate the comp.
And Mina, your hair does look
too.
good. I feel like Mina Domonique was trying to get us to acknowledge the work she put into her hair, and we didn't. We blew right past it to talk about.
I mean, I
racial
didn't do it.
grievance.
I didn't actually do it. A woman did it, and I
but you
just
sat
in
there.
chair.
That's impressive. Fantastic. It looks great. Your costume is
Thank you.
amazing. And your takes are well researched, nuanced, and smart, and better than all of mine and Pablo's combined.
All right, next
Next
tweet.
topic.
I feel like you're pandering now.
No,
Next
I mean,
tweet
it's
Oh
comes
my
from-
God!
From Mina's mom, son Min Kimes, who said, "May I suggest a Halloween costume for Pablo?"
So my mom does these like extremely effed up photoshops.
Yeah, can we go full screen on that one? Is that possible? Because she did Photoshop my face into the Squid Game, guys. Yeah, there we go. There's the zoom effect. Yeah, you can tell my trademark smoldering eyes hidden by my grandma glasses.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's kind of mean, though, because if she wants you to wear that costume, she is suggesting that you're not very creative and unoriginal. Like, I feel like there's going to be a ton of Squid Game costumes on the street. And unlike me, I put a lot of effort and thought into preparing my costume, and I would assume that she would think you would do the same.
That's right. Also, that I would, by implication, not really like my daughter that much, which, spoiler alert, I do.
Wow, no spoilers. No spoilers. I mean, don't want to be LeBron here.
Yeah.
Quibbling with-
Oh, they get mad.
We don't
They
want
get
that
mad.
Squid Game smoke from the guy who created it, who
Oh, yeah.
went after LeBron, which is bold. Bold move.
Mina, he responds to LeBron taking shots at it. As popular as you are, I don't think you're gonna engender a response. Like, he's not gonna get upset. Mina Kimes said it.
I don't know.
Trying to
Kyler
protect
Murray did
Pablo.
call her out on Twitter,
Oh,
just
yeah.
for the record.
He
Yeah,
called
I'm
her
a huge fan
out.
of Pablo.
Who's a fan of
It's
Pablo?
really hard for me.
Kyler.
Like, finally, we get a Korean quarterback, and he thinks I'm
Yeah,
up.
that's tough.
I just...
That's tough.
Our
What
next
does it
tweet
say?
comes from
I just love hearing you
Long
say
Live
"op."
the Queen. Pokemon slogan is "Gotta catch 'em all," which is something a cornerback could never relate to.
Well done. Well
Wow.
done.
Wow.
I do have quite a few dropped interceptions in my past, and I'm down as long as they're funny jokes. I appreciate. I mean, I don't like the haters online who just like F you or you're dumb or say something racist. Like, come with some creativity. This is funny. I appreciate it. I wish it weren't
That's pretty
true, but
good.
it's true. I've dropped a few in my day. I dropped
Gotta
2 in
catch
a game
'em
against
all.
Tom Brady. It was really unfortunate.
Really? Oh,
we won.
man.
We won. No, they were easy
Dominique,
ones,
can
too.
you name another Pokemon other than Pikachu?
I mean, this feels like
Oh, no. No.
hold up.
There were 151 of them. Now I believe there are like 4,000 of them. The expanded universe has
many.
gotten widely out of
Too
control.
many Pokemon.
There's the
Yeah.
caterpillar looking one.
Yep. Yep,
It's
that
probably, if I just combine some syllables, I feel like I could come up with something. Gargled puff.
one.
That's a thing.
You're close.
Hufflepuff.
You got
That's-
close.
No, Hufflepuff is from that other
Hufflepuff
movie.
is
No, but you got
Harry
close to one.
Potter. You were
Gargle?
close.
Gargle puff? Gargaloof. Gargaloof? Gargleton. Gargantuad.
It was the puff part, not the gargle
Mackle
part.
Puff.
That was close.
Snackle Puff?
Let's move
Lackle
on.
Puff.
Searching for
Let's move
Jigglypuff.
on.
The answer was
Jigglypuff.
Jigglypuff.
We're looking for or Wigglytuff, the evolved version.
All right, we have one more tweet
Don't do
that Mina, the competitor, will love. Her army of simps has come through.
Of course.
Who has the cutest Halloween costume? Mina slaughtered everyone. 65% of voters voted for Mina. 31% of voters voted for Domonique. And 3.6, a paltry 3.6% of voters
I
voted
feel
for Pablo Torre
yeah.
in grandma glasses.
I would like to blame this on the army of simps, but I mean, it's actually true. Like, Charlie
How
dropped
dare
my
you.
costume off at my front door, and I put it on 10 minutes before the show, and Pablo just went in his closet and put on the same glasses he
No,
always
all
wears
right.
and put
Here's the
on his
situation.
normal
I
clothes.
had
Like,
to
Mina wins.
buy these glasses. You think I own these glasses? No, I had to buy these for my costume, which is again a costume based on a video that I would have hoped the internet would have seen because it's the internet, but I guess not.
I'm
Wow.
actually the father from the Proud family, so my whole family is doing the Proud family costume. But I felt like it would be silly for me to come on here in a shirt and tie and suspenders because it's not much of a costume. Similar to someone showing up in a jean jacket and spectacles, like it's not much of a costume. It's a waste of time.
Can we also mention the fact that Mina has another costume that she has for real life, but didn't deem that fun enough for television? Like, she has two costumes.
She made the smart choice. This was the better television costume. You somehow, throughout the course of this entire show, have not learned that she made the choice that she should have made, and you made.
All
the
right,
one you
here's a
shouldn't have.
situation. This is a great costume.
It's a terrible costume. Any costume
All
you
right,
have to
here's the
explain is a
situation.
bad costume.
Disagree.
It's really
You have
not.
to
It's not
explain
a
it.
great
It's a
costume.
bad costume.
Here's
That's
the
a good-
situation.
yeah,
here's the situation. You're
This
wrong.
can be a great costume. We have 10 seconds left in the show, which is the amount of time Pablo's allowed to sing Country Road.
No,
Count
you
us
guys
out.
got to
Let's
sing
go.
it. You guys got to sing it so I can do the line over it.
All
right. Here's the situation. This song isn't about West Virginia.
Mountain
It's
High.
about the western part of Virginia.
It didn't get any better.
Now you do the second part.
It's still bad. It's a terrible costume, Pablo.
You
If
didn't even
can-
say. They say
if you
drug
can-
thoughts lead.
If you can walk out in the world in your costume and no one's gonna look twice, it's a bad costume. If you have to explain your costume to people, it's a bad costume, Pablo, especially on TV. Like, we want people to be swiping by and see that and say, oh, interesting, let me click it. But now no one cares about your costume.
All right, here's the situation. You guys are making me feel bad.
Choo.
There it
You
is.
really
didn't
Ben
even
Simmons
know what a
the end
Pikachu
of that
is.
show.
I do know what a Pikachu is. I'm a Pikachu. Are you one of those people who's upset because like famous characters are now black? Is that you? You're like, oh my God. Why is Superman bisexual now? I'm gonna lose my mind.
Ugh.
Someone on the internet it might be.
Aaron Rodgers is definitely
Allegedly.
Weekend.
We're
allegedly.
not trying to make
Time to
enemies.
get my drink on.